It's almost Election Day, and today we're talking with Governor Holcomb and Democratic Chairman Mike Schmoll about the closely watched race for Secretary of State. Plus, I'll go one-on-one with Congresswoman Victoria Spartz and her opponent Jeanine Lake as we preview all the big races on your ballot this coming Tuesday. It's all ahead right now on this week's edition of In Focus. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Dan Spieler. We're just days away now from the midterm elections, and we've got a preview of all the big races here in Indiana this year, including the race for Secretary of State. We'll have that in just a minute, but we start with the race for U.S. Senate. Incumbent Republican Senator Todd Young up for re-election this year. A poll last month showed it could be a close race, though many experts think otherwise. Kristen Eskow has a preview.
You've probably been seeing the ads more often on TV lately.
A Marine Corps captain trained in counterintelligence.
Republican Senator Todd Young is seeking a second term in the Senate. He was first elected in 2016 and previously served 6 years in the House. He's focused his campaign on his military service, semiconductor manufacturing, and inflation.
The plan is quite simple. We need to stop spending trillions of dollars we don't have on things we don't need.
Young's Democratic opponent, Tom McDermott, is a Navy veteran who has been the mayor of Hammond in northwest Indiana since 2004.
They want elected officials to solve problems, not take away freedoms.
McDermott says protecting abortion access is his top priority. He's vowed to vote in favor of codifying Roe v. Wade if elected.
Roe versus Wade worked for my entire life. For 5 decades, it was the precedent established by the U.S. Supreme Court that women had the right to privacy, including the right to have an abortion.
Laura Wilson, a political science professor with the University of Indianapolis, says inflation and abortion are the big issues this year.
Right now, there are a lot of major federal issues that are impacting Hoosiers, so I think they're looking at this race very carefully.
National analysts like the Cook Political Report consider the seat solid Republican and not competitive. But again, the only polling we've been seeing about a month ago now had Senator Young up just by about 2 points. Now, most analysts do expect him to win re-election Tuesday night.
All right, let's move to another race that we've been watching closely here. Of course, the race for Secretary of State. It's been in the news a lot. More reporting this past week on Republican Diego Morales and his residency in 2018, back when he ran for Congress. Just the latest in a string of issues that have made news here in this race.
Yeah, and we have obtained those documents as well as we talk with experts about whether his residency issues amount to voter fraud or not. Morales is running against Democrat Destiny Wells and Libertarian Jeff Maurer. All three are vying to replace current Secretary of State Holly Sullivan, who Morales defeated at the Republican convention in June. Party leaders and Governor Holcomb had backed Sullivan at the convention instead of Morales. This week I asked the governor about some of the controversies Morales has faced throughout the campaign, which Democrats have called disqualifying, in their words.
The Indy Star is reporting that it looks like he may have committed voter fraud 4 years ago in 2018, voting in another place where he was running for Congress while actually living in Indianapolis. And so for somebody to run for Secretary of State, which is the top election official in Indiana, to have committed voter fraud just a few years ago, I think that's disqualifying, and it just adds to the heap of negative stories and coverage about Diego Morales.
Everybody should vote their conscience. I certainly did mine, and I'll support the Republican team.
Do you have any concerns
He's
about
a beneficiary of that. That's all I have to say. Everybody else needs to make up their own mind.
Do you have any concerns about Republicans' vulnerability in that race?
I think it's going to be a good Republican night, quite frankly.
Now, Governor Holcomb voted early. He'll be out of the country on Election Day. He's headed to Egypt this weekend for an economic development mission climate change conference. Meantime, the GOP chairman again declined our request for an interview. In a statement, the Morales campaign called it a character assassination and said he, quote, followed all applicable state and federal election and property tax laws. But of course, that's just one of the big races we're following. This week, I also spoke with some candidates in a key state House race and took a closer look at some of the other statewide races on the ballot this year. Republicans hold a supermajority in the Indiana General Assembly. That means 2/3 of the seats in both the House and Senate. But Democrats are focused on some competitive districts in their push to pick up seats.
I am running to bring some balance to the State House. I want Hoosiers' voices to be heard.
Democrat Jocelyn Veyer is running for state Senate in Fishers against Republican incumbent Kyle Walker.
Urban and suburban areas typically have been a little bit more moderate. I think people are looking for common sense approaches.
To break the Republican supermajority, Democrats need to hold all of their current seats and pick up another 5 seats in the House and 7 in the Senate. UND political science professor Laura Wilson says that's a challenge.
We just redistricted last fall, so those maps are going to be drawn in a certain way that may make some of those districts even slightly less competitive and fewer opportunities for Democratic voters.
2 statewide races on the ballot: Indiana auditor and treasurer. The Indiana treasurer makes decisions on investments for the state. Republican Daniel Elliott is facing Democrat Jessica McClellan in that race. The state auditor acts as a chief financial officer for the state, tracking state dollars and paying bills. Democrat Zanae Brooks is challenging the Republican incumbent Tara Klutz. Elizabeth Benyon, who teaches political science at IU South Bend, says both positions play key roles in managing your tax dollars.
Between the treasurer and the auditor, there is a lot of work with those local governments, whether it's tax disbursements through the auditor's office or 911 funds through the treasurer.
Now, Dan, Democrats haven't won a statewide race since 2012 here in Indiana, but they are hoping to pick up some more seats in the General Assembly, especially after the contentious debate over the new abortion law, which we saw, of course, over the summer.
We'll see how all of that plays